Let's look at some purchase orders and how we can monitor what our service managers are ordering and if they're picking the right general ledger code, if they're ordering them from the right vendor, right price. Are we updating that things are being received by packing slips properly? Uh, Pretty simple process, and this should be done weekly to see that everything is being held accountable for what we're looking for to do. So I'm in the purchase order module right now under Minnesota, and we're going to look at a few things that we can monitor. Um, First of all, as you see, you go into purchase orders. I've got mine set up by the oldest purchase orders on top and the latest ones on bottom. You can just click on these blue headers to change them accordingly, however you want yours to be organized. If you want it to be organized by vendor name, alphabetical, there you go. By numbers, click the PO numbers. So in this case, what I'm looking for is what do we have for old POs in the system? Well, it looks like we've got some from January and February in the system that have back orders. So maybe I could look at these and I can contact Twin City Filter and say, hey, I haven't got the balance of some of these filters yet. What do you expect the time frame to be? Maybe they came in and they just forgot to give the packing slip to admin. But we're always looking at that these things are updated on a weekly basis. We've got some Maxtrol regulators that take 9 months to come in, so we still have a bunch of those on order that we're still waiting for, so that's correct. It's another Twin City filter one. They've been pretty slow this year. We've got a preseason order in the system already that won't probably arrive until October, November. But what I'm going to look for right now are a few of these parts vendors, like this protection controls one, and see if they were done correctly. Whenever I'm looking over and monitoring the purchase orders, I want to have a couple documents handy. One is our expense report coding guideline to make sure that we are picking the proper general ledger code. This name here in column B should look real close to the ones that we're picking for every item that we purchase. Okay, the description of this in column C will tell you what it's for. And in most cases, when you're talking about service and purchase orders, are going to have repair and maintenance will be the most popular one. That's 4112, and that's where we're getting our parts, our regulators, our paint, our stickers. We're repairing our forklifts. A lot of stuff falls under that one. But we got freight. We're moving things around. Those will be added into equipment that we're purchasing. Is all capital expense equipment. So on the top, we've got equipment less than $500. We got equipment over $500, and then a few of these other various ones for um, some vehicles and IT equipment. If you buy furniture for one of our offices, it would fall under some of these ones on top that are in red. So I have that one open or printed when I'm looking over that. I also have my vendor list, equipment list. This tells us, where we're getting the majority of our equipment from and items from across the country for all of our branches. Okay. If it's in this green color, that means that every branch is using this for everything. So if I'm buying timers for my Rexotherms or timer base, it's coming from this brass company. Okay. If I'm gonna go and get air conditioners, well, I've got spot coolers and AmeriCool looks like they're a second for the OP18. They're a first for the OP36. What that means is when I'm going to order it, they're my first contact. If they have none in stock, I may look at who the second is or the third is, and that's what this F ranking is. We'll have kind of what their part number is under H. We'll have the general ledger code here under I, which we'll be looking at here shortly, and then some different items that fall through. So I have that. It's a good sheet to go over and put some of this stuff to memory of where we're getting um, some of our ductwork from, some of our hose from, and our big parts from to make sure that we're getting them from the right place when we order them. So I'm going to look at this protection controls. I can quickly see what's on it by hitting the plus sign. Okay, and it looks like they've got the majority of the parts on there, but one part was not in the system. So let's go take a look at this one. I'm going to go out here and click on it and say modify. And All these have the right general ledger account. They are all repair and equipment, parts, metalwork, extension cords, that fun stuff. All of them have a proper name, so it's coming from Pointer Rental. But this bottom one doesn't. Either it wasn't in the system, or they couldn't find it. Let's take a quick look and see what we can see. Thermal circuit breaker. On the bottom left-hand corner, when I go to inventory item, I can type in thermal. See what you found. Oh, there you go. Thermal circuit breaker, TCB. Um, must have been hidden from certain people's view, I guess. But I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to add this to it. He wanted 10 of them, and the price was $32.20. Okay. And if this wasn't chosen, or this was chosen properly, down here under manual, I could pick the right general ledger. In this case, it is repair and equipment maintenance. Okay. So that one's right. I'm going to say done because that's good to go. I'm going to get rid of this other line. I don't need this anymore because we have the actual one. If you keep a line that's just put in there as non-inventory and we get the inventory in stock, the system will never change. We won't show that we have inventory for it, and it makes the inventory for parts even more difficult to control. So I really don't like to see many things that are put in as non-inventory items. Inventory items, if you think we're going to order it again in the future, we should put it in to the system the right way. A different video will talk about how to do that. So now this is correct. We've got all the general ledgers. The pricing's right here. Everything on here is coming out of the system. It's going to protection controls, which if you look in your vendor sheet, it would say that is the correct spot to get it. Mr. Nate Quigley, the service manager, is the one that was doing the purchase order. Purchase order should only be done by your service managers or your division managers. They're the people that are doing it the proper way, because we do the purchase order. We emailed in, we followed up with a phone call to make sure they got it, because a lot of times things get trapped in email somewhere. And then when it arrives, we go ahead and receive it. And by receiving it, if this first ACF relay came in and 50 of them came in, I click on received, I type 50, and it will say, yep, those are all good. If only 25 flame packs came in, I'll say 25, hit enter, and it'll change it to yellow color, which means there's a back order still to go out there. And you do that for each one as you go through. In this case, nothing came in yet, so I'll put this back to 0. But that's what you're looking for. When the packing slip comes in, we then go into the purchase order, and we update the received to be correct. Then, when the invoice comes in, we update this, and we put the invoice number up in the upper right-hand corner. We put the invoice date, upper right-hand corner, and then we go ahead and we check tax. So for our parts, our resale items, so they shouldn't be taxed. If there is tax on it, we want to flag that and send them some documentation saying that we are a non-tax company, so they don't do it in the future, and don't pay the tax on that order as well. For freight, go ahead and put in your freight amount. It costs $47 in there. You would just click on here and put $47 for freight, whatever that is, into the system as well. And miscellaneous, if there's any weird things they put on for service charges, you can put it under miscellaneous. We check that our total matches the total of the invoice. And if everything has been received and everything's good, we can go ahead and process it and say okay. And what would happen then, after you received everything, is the items fall off of here. Okay, fall off of your main dashboard here. So when an invoice comes in, it may have a number. So let's just say an invoice for 5,300 comes in. Well, where is it? It's not on here. Well, we can go up this lookup here and we can look it up. I'm gonna say modify, and I'm just gonna type in 5,300. Let's see what that was. Guess, oh, looks like a condensate pump. Okay, in fact, this is one that has been put into the system, and it's in another branch. It's in store 5, so it has a -5 after it, so it's still an open one. So at some point, this invoice is going to come in, and store 5, Oregon's going to have to update this, because why? There's no price here yet. So tough to order pumps without a price. So once we get that pump price to come in, we will update the price here, see what the freight is, make sure there's no tax on it, put the invoice number, the invoice date, and we'll be able to close that out properly. So that's how you find anything. If you're looking for, hey, what have I got from protection controls before? Real quick, I go up to modify again, and I'm going to search by vendor. I'm just going to say protection controls. I'm just going to type pro. That's just more in this case. Here they are, protection controls. This tells me every order I've ever had with protection controls in the system and who did it. And I can quickly go to these plus signs and see what the items are. Oh, looks like we got some panels and some flame rods, and it was done by store 3. This is store 1. So if you want to see what your history for pricing was from this branch or for protection controls, you can go ahead and click on any of these plus signs, or you can click on the actual ones and inquire and see the actual purchase order as it goes. Here's the invoice numbers. Looks like there's a few that haven't been invoiced yet. We're waiting on numbers. So that's how you do your searches. You usually do a vendor search, put in the vendor. If you know the actual PO number, that is easy as well. Just look up and put it right under the number you're looking for here. That's the fastest way to go. Okay, so when we're looking to see if all the general ledgers are done properly, what I do in the upper left-hand corner is I say show items. And here is going to show every item that's open for purchase orders. If I go to the far right, we'll see that we have a few items that don't have um, anything picked for the general ledger. In this case, here's your approving switch. Let's go into this contract here. Yeah, looks like there's 3 of them that don't have anything. So click on it, double click on it, go to manual, and I'm going to make that a repair and equipment maintenance. Okay, that one's good. To the next one. And do the last one. So when it comes in, it's done the right way. We put it in the right budget. Okay, so all those are done. This is good. That was a pretty quick fix. And you can go through the different ones out there and make sure they have the right general ledger accounts that are added into it. Okay, I'll get rid of the show items. Final thing that's pretty easy to monitor if people are putting the right codes on things is to do a quick report. So let's do a report for June. Go to reports. It's called a purchase order report. And let's pick the dates of June 1st through June 30th. I want just general ledger accounts grouped together, so everything is grouped how I want to see it. This has been opened, partially received, closed, and posted. So anything we've done, if it's here or not, it will show up by having these 4 clicked. And I just want to see Minnesota. Generate that. Now everything that we've purchased or received as well in that month of June should show up on here by the general ledger. So here's the first one, some building supplies. We got some plywood, so that's under building supplies. Capital expense items or any equipment we purchase is capital expense. So our ductwork, our hose, our heaters, our air conditioners, that's all CapEx equipment. If the items are less than $500, it's CapEx less than 500. If it's over 500, it's CapEx over 500. We want to start looking at parts as well that are over $500. If we're going to put a $2,000 compressor into an air conditioner, we want to put that as a capital expense. So we're going to pick our CapEx over $500. These are all CapEx over $500. It's equipment that Minnesota ordered. Some air conditioners, it looks like. We've got some shop equipment. We got some racking in. So that falls under the CapEx for shop equipment. The next one is freight on the bottom there. Looks like, yeah, these are all freight ones, and they've all come in. That looks to be right. We've got some Rexotherm gray spray cans, some hand spray cans to touch up from Diamond Vogel that came into the refurbished equipment, paint. Perfect. That's what we want as well. And then the majority of our stuff is going to fall into this repaired equipment, which is our parts and things of that nature. So you've got motors, we got fittings, all these items. If it's been received, it'll have a date in the right-hand corner. If it hasn't, like this Pinnacle, we got some fan guards, 20 of them. It hasn't been received yet, so it shows no date there. But again, those are parts, they fall under there. Resale items, very important to know that All the fittings and black piping that we get from Fastenal is a resale item because we charge for those when we go ahead and do installs. Also, our filters for our air conditioners and dehues we're charging for this. Our foil flex, all those things are charge items, so they fall under this resale merchandise one and not under parts. And if we're looking here, it looks like, yep, some fasteners that we're reselling, some filters, some fittings, all that is correct. Some shop supplies. Looks like we got some shop supplies, and it falls under shop supplies. Pretty simple. Um, and then we got a vacuum pump, which falls under shop tools. So it looks like this is all in pretty good order for the purchase orders for Minnesota for the month of June. And this is what I expect out of the managers to look at this every week or so. Make sure we're getting rid of the old ones. Make sure that the invoices are being put in properly. That we're using the right general ledger code. Extremely important to put the general ledger code. Use that sheet that we had, that little cheat sheet, to see what we're using, and to watch over these POs. So that's the quick and painless way of watching over purchase orders. If you have any questions, give Sean a call or an email. Thank you.